Hello to all the fans of being patted on the back and receiving praise. Why do you need praise? So that you can feel your own greatness, so that you feel like you're the center of the world, so that it inflates your pride in a place where there is no creator. Why do you need praise? Why does a person want praise? Because it seems to them that they did something themselves, that they deserve it, that they are great, that they wanted, as you say, to do good deeds. Yes, you want to do good, but if you don't reach the realization that it was all done by the Creator, then you've committed idolatry. All your good was done for yourself. That's what the Zohar says. All their acts of mercy, they do for themselves. They don't do it in order to reveal the power of the Creator, that there is only the Creator, that it is His merit and His action. They do it to reveal themselves, to gain pride. That's why, when you receive praise, ask yourself, why do you need it if everything was done by the Creator? Who are you? Why do you attribute achievements to yourself and think that you deserve something? You are connecting yourself to the system of spiritual impurity. The Almighty created such an angel of evil. For those who connect to this system, all sorts of forces, thoughts, slander, and even worse things begin to be drawn to them. Anger intensifies, demands arise, which attract the light to themselves, and so on. So, what do you want? At this moment, you have the right to choose. How should you behave? The choice is yours. But if you don't choose, and this state descends upon you, the urge to respond, to get angry, and so on, this indicates a breakdown that you are not controlling or managing your desire. Except for the righteous, who may experience righteous anger. But this anger is not directed at a person, as many people tend to think. This is anger for the sake of the Creator, because there is no connection happening between the Almighty and the Shekhinah. The righteous person is not angry at the person themselves, but at the situation. And then you might have an outburst of angry energy, which then needs to be transformed into prayer. Because prayer itself is already the result. Prayer itself is a connection with the Creator. The state of prayer is already the state we need to be in. No matter what result we achieve, whether it's good or bad, we need to believe that there is nothing bad. And switch to the understanding that everything was done by the Creator when the result is achieved. And all our efforts and all our spiritual work should be directed toward only one thing: to reveal precisely this realization that everything was done by Him, that there is no other force besides Him. And this is a commandment, to believe that there is only one Creator, and it applies to all the righteous people on earth. To Israel, to the righteous among the nations of the world, and to the righteous converts. All people who follow the path of the Creator must believe that there is only one Almighty. There is no other force in the world. Therefore, after any work we have done, when we feel that we deserve something, or we feel that it was us who did it, we must also shift our focus to the fact that there is only one force. There isn't even us. We didn't do anything. It's not us by ourselves. There is nothing separate. There is only one force, only the Creator. This is the first commandment that every person who wishes to follow the path of the Creator must fulfill. That's why we must constantly practice such shifts in perspective. You go to the store, buy tomatoes, come home, put them on the table, and sit down. Almighty, thank you for bringing the tomatoes home to me. There is nothing but your power. You did all of this, not me, and then His name alone is exalted. This is a hint at the 7th millennium, the end of correction, when everything will be like this, without interruption, that is, without ups and downs. That's why we must know that the Almighty is constantly creating us. And creating everything around us. Everything exists in the Creator's thought. There is no separate reality. Everything is done only by the Creator. And His thought is what creates everything, even the state of concealment, and even the reward we receive after the concealment. Everything that happens to us, the beginning, the end, and the middle, the past, the present, and the future, all exist within a single thought of the Creator. The Almighty created a separate reality in which a person can express certain feelings toward Him, go through processes of development, choose good, and turn away from evil. But when the light of the additional soul is revealed, what is this addition? It is the collective soul that a person feels when he returns to his root. Then all the properties of the body are nullified, meaning place. Where we feel ourselves as separate, a place where we feel that we act, that we are there. And this is called going beyond the vessels, returning to the root. Going to the place where only the Creator acts, and we no longer do anything. You see, the Creator made a perpetual motion machine. People try to create one, but He made it inside us. In our perception, a perpetual motion machine. You achieve something, and then you switch to feeling like you haven't done anything at all. The Creator is infinite, and once again you renew your connection with Him. And so it goes on endlessly. And this is the secret of all relationships between man and woman, teacher and student, creator and creation. Whoever seeks eternal love, this is the formula. It is not found in the state of rest that you want to be in. It exists in movement. True peace can only be found in motion. Those who live unconsciously live like animals. But you don't want to live like an animal. You want to live like a human being. And what sets a human apart from an animal is that a human doesn't live by instinct alone. There is criticism that the proud love. That is, to criticize someone in order to feel superior. Like, you're nothing, you're a nobody, and now I'm going to teach you how to live. That's the bad kind of criticism. But to criticize, for example, in a constructive way, on point, at the right, agreed upon time, when you've discussed it with the person and they're ready for it, that you meet to talk about how to improve. That's good criticism. But you use this kind of criticism only with those who want to work with you on it, because it depends on whether the person is able to accept this criticism from you. Does he even want to? Ask him, do you want to hear criticism from me? Or maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe he doesn't hear you at all. So what's the point of criticism then? You'll just be talking into the void. Nobody wants to hear you or even know you. That's why a person who criticizes someone else should first understand, am I an authority for him? Does he even want to get this criticism from me? Does he want to hear advice from me or not? If not, what's the point of saying anything to him? He won't hear it anyway. Nothing will be accepted anyway. It's just a waste of energy. Your strength is just thrown in the trash, meaning it will only lead to an argument, to a falling out. The person won't accept anything from you if he hasn't chosen you as an authority. That's why there needs to be an agreement. There needs to be understanding. Do we want criticism from each other? Do we want to move forward together? Or is it something spontaneous? Or is it just my mood right now? Or does this person not see me as an authority at all? So what's the point? Criticism can be just arguing for the sake of arguing, or it can be an argument for the sake of truth when two people want to figure something out. They might have two different opinions in order to reach common ground. But if it's just arguing for the sake of arguing, just to prove to you that you're worthless and I know everything, I know it all myself without you, and you should feel who you are and who I am. That's not what we need. We don't need that kind of criticism or those kinds of arguments. A person climbs a mountain and sleeps in a cart. He doesn't even realize he's on a mountain, but as he ascends that mountain in his pride, he's been hitting there since childhood. And for him, that's a natural state, like a fish in water. A fish doesn't know it's in water, and a person doesn't know he's proud until he comes down from the mountain and looks around to see where he is. That's when he becomes aware. We look at reality through the eyes of the Creator and ask ourselves, would the Creator want this situation to happen? Would he act the same way? But look at how patient the Creator is. He hid himself. Why didn't he reveal himself right away? Show himself to everyone? Why did he hide himself? Why doesn't he show himself to us? So, criticize consciously. That's what I'm getting at. That if you're going to criticize, then realize why you're doing it. What does it give you? Does this person even hear you or not? Figure this out. Find out why you need this criticism. What for? Is it to elevate yourself above them or to help them? What for? Why do it? Do you think that if you keep criticizing and he doesn't want to listen, anything will change? Nothing will help. It only works if it's mutual. If the person is willing to listen to your criticism, then yes, you'll get a shared result. Otherwise, nothing will happen. It's just a waste of energy. So, if you want to criticize him, tell him, listen, would you like to have a constructive conversation with me? I have some things I'd like to say about how we can improve. It would be easier for him to hear it that way. But if you come and say, listen, you're wrong. I'm not wrong. You're the one who's wrong. That's the kind of reaction you get. People don't want to hear at all that they're wrong. Everyone, all people, as he said, they love praise and don't like criticism. That's why he tells us to act contrary to this perception, to go against this nature. These texts are not written for those clothed in flesh, but for those who have entered and exited, meaning those who have gone through leaving the body, leaving bodily perception. It doesn't mean that he climbed out of this flat spacesuit. It means that he perceives the world differently. He sees spiritually at the root. But a person who doesn't work on switching to the understanding that everything is done by the Creator, he cannot get out of his corporeality. It's hard for a person not to feel himself. It's hard for a person to stop focusing on himself, thinking about himself, wanting things for himself. Even in spirituality, when a person starts working on spiritual development, he's always talking about himself, thinking about himself, feeling himself, dealing with himself. and never reaches the sensation that there is only the Creator, that there is no one else but Him. That's why our effort should be directed precisely at this. Any work, any effort should reveal this. The evil eye is when a person is separated from the collective, separated from the Creator, given a separate reality. That's what it is, but such a reality doesn't exist. There is no reality in which a person exists on his own. There is only the common field, one creation, unity, one Creator, one soul.